The judgment for drinking poison is death from poisoning. You don't need God to kill you after you drink poison. What this statement is saying is that God doesn't have to do anything to judge you. You judge yourself by your activities, by your participation based on your decision to live according to your own knowledge. Consequently, you are a victim of your own decision, not of God's judgment. Some people blame the devil for the results of their actions. Don't blame the devil. He just takes advantage of your decisions. The devil cannot dominate you or force you to do anything. The devil waits for your decisions. When you make a bad one, he'll ride it to the end, or just as far as he can, and he'll try to bring you down with it. Satan is not the culprit. The culprit is your rejection or ignorance of God's purpose. You don't know God's purpose for living, and so you abuse your life. Be careful. That abuse can cripple or kill you. You make me comfortable with you. I feel so comfortable with you. You make me comfortable. Some of us are excellent at murder. Murder does not just mean stabbing someone with a knife. Jesus said that if you hate someone, it is the equivalent of murder. See Matthew 5:21 and 22. Some people haven't acted on their feelings, but they have mentally wished for another's death. Slander is another example of this type of murder. We can use the talent of verbal eloquence to assassinate another's character with style. Slander doesn't necessarily mean lying about someone else. It can mean twisting the truth with the intent to hurt. It takes talent to do that. When some people want to get back at others, they stand up in public arenas and use their mouths as guns and their words as bullets. When they finish shooting, their victims are dead, and everybody knows it. Some of their victims never resurrect from these attacks. I feel so comfortable with you. You make me comfortable with you. You make me lay your head on my pillow, say, ooh. When you touching my body, say, ooh. Everything is the way it is because of why it was created, because of its purpose. The why dictates design. God created everything with a purpose, and he or she created everything with the ability to fulfill its purpose. God's purposes were always planned out ahead of time. Everything was already made in the mind of the maker before he or she created it. What this means is that God never gives a purpose to something after he or she has made it. Rather, he or she builds everything to the specific purpose he already had in mind for it. The first chapter of Romans explains that when people reject or ignore the purposes of God, they end up continually abusing themselves. They abuse their bodies, their minds, their relationships, and their talents. Although they knew God, they never glorified him as God, nor gave thanks to him, for their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Romans 1:21. This verse describes those who did not know the purpose of God and did not even care to find out what it is. Even though they knew something about God and his ways, they did not want him or her in their lives. They did not want to know what he or she wanted them to know. They would say, in effect, keep your opinions about who you are to yourself, God. We know you made us, but mind your own business. We know you're there, but leave us alone. Since everything God created was intentional, we can conclude that the female as well as the male was created intentionally. God doesn't wonder why he or she made the woman or what her or his purpose should be after he created her. He was very clear about why he or she made this wonderful creation, and therefore we don't have to guess about it either. The female was created to help fulfill God's eternal purpose. His or her eternal purpose is great, and within his larger purpose, he has many smaller purposes, but the female and the male are to discover their individual purposes, which are part of God's larger plan. So the person who lives inside of you, the real you, is the spirit man. No matter what anybody else does, you are responsible for your relationship with God. The fact that the same spirit of man resides in both female and male has generally been forgotten by humanity, so that men and women end up battling one another for supremacy, as if one needs to prove superiority over the other. Yet neither is superior, for they are both of the same essence, even with their differences. The source of so many of our problems in this world, including the misunderstanding and mistreatment of women, is that we have lost our understanding of what it means to be human as God created us. We have lost our sense of purpose. I'm convinced that in every country in the world, both men and women are suffering from this ignorance of purpose. The best thing for us to do is to discover and live an original plan, the one who created humanity. Only then will we learn the inherent nature and rights of women and men, so that both female and male can live in freedom and fulfillment. The temptation for women who are being devalued by men in a specific instance or through societal discrimination is to want to dismiss men altogether or treat them in an adversarial way. Yet to do this would be to disregard the inherent makeup of women and men and how they are meant to function together. The end result of such an approach will be damaging to a woman's potential and advancement, and real progress will not be accomplished. Don't ever give anybody the right to say what kind of human value you have. Don't let anybody else tell you how much of a person you are. When you understand that equality is inherent and discover how it is to be manifested in your life, then you can begin to live in the full realm of that equality, regardless of what others tell you about yourself.